Hello there folks, SeKo Starcraft here. Actually, I'll show that time. People want to see the time, I'll show the time. And the production tab's cool as well. It is SeKo Starcraft Omniscient. I'm actually playing as Protoss. Decided I was going to wing it for my last game of the day. Up against Fogo, the zerg player in the top right. So, close vertical spawns. Gonna go for a forward pylon. Forge expand. Maybe I get lucky. Maybe I get a cannon him in the face when he's not paying attention. You know, that whole kind of deal. Haven't played any Protoss. I've actually run into very few Protoss on the ladder. Most of them just go like, I'm not gonna say all in, but just mass adapt and just kill everything, and it's sad. So in this game, I wanted to try and have a little fun, give you guys a little taste of some Protoss, and it's up against Zerg, which is probably, if I had to pick one that I wanted to go up against, it'd probably be Zerg. Terran I think would kick my ass, and PvP I'd have to like cheese him or something. There's almost no way. So I do scout. Yes, I do scout the correct direction. Do see there's a hatch first. Do have a forge finishing. Get some shenanigans in there. Do some kind of fun. Do have his overlord here. I think he. Yeah, he's looking for that probe. Smart on his part. Cannon rushing is pretty common these days, but the top cannon rushing is actually really common. Just a full pylon wall off. So I'm just gonna throw down a pylon. At the same time, throwing down two pylons. Right, because I'm throwing one down on my base as well. I'm going to see how many workers I can force him to pull right now. So if we look at the income tab, we see that he's going to plummet quite a bit. Yes, it did cost me 100 minerals to build this thing. But that's it's a pretty big commitment from him to go after that. So, while this is happening, I'm going to try to do some sort of micro. Get that Nexus down. And I'll pull back with that probe. Just about like doubled his income though when he had to pull away all those workers. So, yeah, it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's hard to say which guy's really doing better. I do have more probes on the way. Gateway, gas. Yeah. Pretty straightforward. Nothing too crazy at that point. This is kind of one of the slower openings I guess people will see. The love, just the chrono boosting up the probes. How far ahead you can get with that. Pulls in the workers and is going to send them down to the main base. Main base, natural base. Screw off, I know what I'm doing. Extractor finishing up, well, just behind my gas. Not too big a deal though. Second gas going down because I got lots of minerals to spend. I should get that cybernetics course started here pretty quick. I haven't played Protoss in like months. It has been a long ass time since I've done anything Protoss. So I'm hoping you guys bear with me on how the sluggish crappiness that is my game. Cannon is done at the front. Couple of links coming out just to see maybe I. Sometimes people don't throw a cannon down in the front. They want to cut corners, get things done as fast as possible. I'm not as worried about that. Zealot is going to come out to go join and be part of the wall. Bunch of probes going to make a run. Units wise, actually we're tied on workers right now. And he's going for a really nice fast third hatch, which is the correct decision to make if you see your opponent go for this kind of gasless forge expand. I believe I thought I sent out my probe for another scout. Yeah, there he is. So I do see that third base going down. Feel a bit better about that. Was going to try to run by. Fortunately, I don't get up here to see that Roach Warren, but I'm not super concerned. Get that warp gate started. Probes still being made. And I'm going to throw down a fast robo. Generally is the answer of the day. Guys just running around. I'm going to scout, see what's going on. See if I'm going to go for maybe a fast third myself. More gas being taken. Queen's on the way. +1. Got that forge done fast. Might as well use it. Upgrades were very important to me. Protoss. I've seen some really cool Protoss pro level play where they get like no upgrades. I'm on the other side. I like my upgrades. I like being able to make sure that I stay far ahead on that. The trick now for the Zerg player that they have to worry about. Where's his overlord? Did I shoot it down already? Oh no, there's my stalker. The trick now for our Zerg player is understanding whether or not I'm going for a 2-base all-in. Getting a couple more gateways behind this just so I can build some more units. My worry, what I always worry about when I'm playing against Zerg, is how fast they want to go for Mutalisks, because that seems to always be the case. Stalker will shoot down that overlord before he gets too far. This guy could have popped up, and maybe if he saw those gateways, he'd be a little concerned. 11 drones on the way, so he's going to take a pretty big worker lead here in just a second. I'm throwing down really fast robotics bay. Couple of cool units obviously come out with that. We get our access to our Funky Donkey Colossus. Also the Disruptors. Now the disruptor is unbelievably sweet, but I didn't realize it costs 300 gas and 4 supply. But there's a really important reason why that is the case. Spores going down, spines at his third. I like that. I think he should be just taking the watchtower and spreading out the units a bit more. Probably doesn't need those just yet. But I could have just as easily snuck a pylon down here at some point and be coming in with, 7 gateways. Which is, I see way too much of that. And part of my mind playing Protoss, like, I should go for that. It works all the time for people. But no, I'm not going to do that. Roach is coming out though. Speed is on the way. Lair going down right now. I'm heading out with an observer because I want to see if this mute is coming. Warp gate finished. Colossus on the way. And I'm not in a panic in this game. Like, I'm just going to try and... Actually, getting some Ravagers, which is sweet. Just going to try to, be methodical. I think a lot of times with Protoss, I feel like I've got this need to go out there and do damage, and then I'd lose. Whereas if I go and play something a little bit safer, I can sometimes get myself into a better position. Probe does sneak by. Don't really know exactly what I'm doing at this moment here. Probably should have got that Nexus down, but I wasn't paying enough attention. Got another Colossus started and so forth. Lings still scouting around diligently. Creep spread's not great, but at least all the bases, well, mostly the bases are connected. And more Colossus on the way. I haven't started my range yet. I keep forgetting that there's all these other things you need when you're playing Protoss. +1 armor on the way. Cannon going down because I'm totally not confident about stuff. I'll move out with my army to kind of get this 4th base down. Hiding the fact that I have Colossus. I mean, I don't know how much of a mystery it's going to be. Colossus are pretty rare in this day and age, I'm going to say. A lot more disruptor play, but it's just so expensive. Oh, man. Didn't realize just how pricey it is. So there is my range. Double Colossus production. Nexus going to go down. Pylon at the front. On this side, I'm a little surprised. I mean, his economy is actually behind mine now, and he hasn't gone for another base yet. Like, I'd be pushing a lot of creep, keep expanding. The Protoss players are going to give you all the time. Either get your economy, get your tech up, which I have my observer in here right now seeing what's going on. To see just Hydra Roach and Evos, so I feel pretty good. 1, I know my upgrades are going to be ahead. And 2, I'm making Colossus. So I should be great against Hydra mixes, which are very, very trendy right now from zerg players. Almost loses observer up front. I see the army. You're just gonna squeeze, run for it. Yep, just gets out of there in time. Anyways, my base is going to go down. 10 Hydras coming out. All of his upgrades, range. A couple cannons going to go down for some defense. Gateway block. But at this point, I've actually got about to have 4th and 5th Colossus range done. Where is that Twilight that I started there? Not Twilight. Yeah, Twilight Council. There it is. Very important. It's going to allow me to get some more upgrades. Probably should have started my leg speed as well. What I have with this is I have a lot of Zealots as part of this comp. Because I want them to just soak up the damage, of course. That's really what they're there for. But having charge and letting them get on top of units a little bit faster probably would have worked to my advantage. Supply-wise, I'm not that far behind. Pretty cool army. 1-1 is finished for me, so this isn't a bad timing with my range. So it's a high-tech army with a scant beat in it. That makes all the difference. Zerg player is starting another base now. Pushing out with this army. Looks like he's just going to maybe muscle into it. He's got the Ravagers here, so he might be able to get some lucky shots off. Don't have an observer in this, and that's actually a really big problem for me. Dodge the Ravager shots. Looks like he's going to try to commit right on top of the army here, which isn't probably the worst decision. I was worried about lurkers, actually. Zealots are putting in a lot of work underneath here. He's trying to focus down the Colossus. He's doing a good job. We'll get pretty much all the Colossus, but that wasn't a terrible trade for me. I probably should just pull back right now, but I'm like, he's not going to be able to remax that well. Trying to get on top of the Colossus, micro it back, pretty good. So that will go down, but I'll actually do a pretty good amount of damage for that fight. So, kind of a weird spot right now. I actually have a couple of observers in this. Looks like he gets the 1. He might be able to track down that 2nd. It's not a big deal. But it is kind of annoying if you can take care of that. Nice last shot. So for me, Colossus being remade right now, but I don't really have any army. I can't spend all my money. I don't have enough gateways. It's just a huge flop for me that I missed that. And I'm not paying attention to this army moving out. So this base is actually really, really weak. I'm actually moving the mothership core over because I'm worried about this happening. But he's actually going to be able to time this pretty good. More Colossus being made, +2 attack. But that's not much of an army. I built in some sentries because I wanted to be able to get some force fields. Yeah. He's just going to focus down the Nexus. And I'm just not even really paying attention. Like, he's just going to get this essentially for free. And it's kind of a bugger. Did sneak a probe out down here. I'm going to see if I can get down another base. But here's where we finally got all my buildings going down. Big gateway production. I'm going to spend as much money as I can. Rebuild my Nexus. Still haven't spent all my money yet. And he's going to go into Corruptors as his choice behind this. Spire's on the way. No Greater Spire. +1 attack. Corruptors really aren't in style anymore for going against Colossus. They haven't been for a long time. Much better to get out Vipers and go for the Yoinks. So income-wise, I'm not doing great, but actually compared to the Zerg player, it's not terrible. This base, not really being used yet. Pretty mined out and oversaturated. 12 of 8 here. Oversaturated here. And he's doing alright there. He just hasn't built enough workers. 54 really should be up to more than that. I probably didn't need to cancel that Nexus. I realized it after the fact. Like, I probably didn't need to cancel that. I could have just warped in the units. But that's me and my Terran sensibility that I forget that I can just magically warp in units anywhere on the map. So I'll take a 4th base over here. Feel like I've got enough of a strong army to be able to do something. More Ravagers on the way. I think Lurkers probably would have been a better decision for him. They crush so much. The range is so long. I mean, there's 14 range on a Colossus, but there's 11 range on a Lurker, so they can smoke quite a bit. Observer was checking for these bases. Didn't see them. And I did start my Templar archives. What's really trendy right now for Protoss against Zerg is Storm. You go like Immortal Storm, force them into a really Hydra-based mix, and then go and crush face. Gonna warp in a big pile of Zealots. I'm gonna go for that 4th base that I know is there now. Send my Observer back north again. Hive is about to finish up here pretty quick. It's gonna be a big boost to him and the different kind of tech he can take. Needs to move some of those workers away. But I'm not doing really great on my side of things. I'm oversaturated there. Slightly oversaturated here. Just finishing up my bases. So this guy's up and going. Need to take my gas a bit more efficiently. And I'm up to 6 Colossus again. Not bad, right? It's not too bad. Viper's on the way. Greater Spire. Some more upgrades. I'm at going to be 2-2 here in a second. He is about to be 2-2 as well. So we're keeping pretty even. Making my first Disruptors. First ever Disruptors. See how that does. Gonna focus down the hatch here. I mean, this isn't cheap. It's 8 Zealots. Take out a 300, mineral hatch. But still, I think it's worth it. Set him back a little bit further. He's got a lot of money to spend for himself here, but he's probably going to save up to try and get out some broodlords. Cannons going down. Gas is being taken. +3 on the way. And some high Templars coming in now as well. Don't have Storm. Didn't have the gas for Storm. Just taking my gas is really not doing great enough job at that. Got some workers that probably need to ship out here pretty soon. Storm is on the way now. Cannons at my 4th base. Throw down some defenses over here. Once again, I don't really have a forward warp-in point. It would have been nice for me at some point in the game come in with a probe and just hide a pylon somewhere. And I was thinking about that. But because I don't play Protoss, you might think it's the 1A click race. But if you're not really that good at it yet, you gotta work pretty hard to get it going. So we got the broodlords in production now. I'm not really in a position to deal with this. Storm's gonna help along with my upgrades, but there's only 5 stalkers and a couple of archons in here. So it's a fairly tanky army, but it's not really one that's equipped to deal with the air. More corruptors on the way. Another disruptor being made as well. Really well placed observer over here. Actually, this is very, very important. Kind of shows me if he's going to be going for this near base. Need to take these gases. Yeah. More Zealots warped in down here. See if I can go for a run pretty soon. Gonna sneak down a 5th base. Got the money. Keep thinking ahead, right? You just keep spending that money. You're gonna need it before you know it. These bases mine out really fast in this game. And now we're going to look at my vision, and this is very important before this engagement starts. You can see on the mini-map the red dot moving across. So I'm moving my army in position to intercept. On his side, he's got his good broodlord count, but he's not really paying attention. He sees that observer, actually. He's not watching this. Pretty good pop. It actually got most of the hydras in that. If it's expensive, that's a lot of gas to use for that bomb. But that did a lot of damage. More stalkers getting warped in now. +3 stalkers, +3 armors on the way. Storm is now finished, but I want to be patient with this engagement. This is an expensive army. I can't just throw it away. If I lose that base, it's not the end of the world. I have a new one mining. Forgot that there's destructible rocks in the middle here, so I'm kind of an idiot. Fairly tanky rocks. So he will get this base without too much worry, but I'm going to see if I can catch him a little bit out of position. Great storms on this army. Very beat up. Zealots taking all the damage at the front. Archons trying to get underneath. So, did alright. Stalker survived my pretty good engagement. Blew through almost all of his bank now. I did lose this base, but I'll start it up again. More Templars. More Zealots. Gonna keep these ones just as Templars. The Storm's very, very effective. And I realized at this point I don't have an observer. So I'm still worried about lurkers and things like that. So I don't really want to mess up with creep until I'm in a position where I can kill the creep. And I've been thinking this whole time, like, man, I'm giving him all this chance to remax. I could probably push in and just win. But if I go in there and there happens to be lurkers, I'm in terrible, terrible shape. Lots of high Templars. Storms are available in here. Looks like he's going to try and go in and pull out a couple expensive units. Get himself a Colossus. This is a nice grab. I'm going for Void Rays with this as well now, because I'm expecting him to stay on air units. But with all these Hydras in tow, it's going to be pretty hard to really bust through that. It's so many Hydras. They're 3-3 now with range. Obviously the Corruptors get melted, but everything else, not quite so much. Nexus going down over here. Another big Zealot warp in. Army's just going to come back home again. Be patient. You know, get it all worked out. This base is finished. Back and taking those gases. More Ravagers. They haven't really paid off for him, though. Kind of surprised at that. New base, not really being used yet. My Zealot's going to go for a run. And I wanted to get Zealot charged, but I couldn't remember where my Twilight Council was when I'm building this. I'm looking at all my different buildings. Like, where did I hide my Twilight Council? Going to come back in here again, push on this base. I mean, good on him. It's just practically free damage. Didn't lose any of the probes from doing that, though, which is good. Void Rays still in production. Nice pull on one of the Archons. Gets to that really fast. Great Blinding Clouds. See the Colossus bunching all the way up at the front. Those Blinding Clouds were amazing, but I have so many Storms. The Zealots, Stalkers, everything just kind of gets cleaned up there. And I'll just fall back. Nexus being made again. Cannons going down. Zealots did clean up this base, but I don't really know how great his economy is. I can see in the replay, so I'm watching it for the first time, he's pretty screwed. But for the rest of it, like, I'm doing great. Income-wise, miles ahead on both. I still have a pretty healthy worker count. Void Rays still in production. But with all the Hydras being made, and I see that with my Zealots, with all these Hydras being made, it's kind of like, well, I'm not going to be able to just beat... With Void Rays, I can't beat this army alone. Gonna turn and fight with the Zealots. I mean, there's not much else you can do. They're pretty well upgraded, so I mean, they at least do some damage, but Hydra's crush face. Actually got shields in production right now as well. More Colossus, remaking the Colossus. Actually, I'm just thinking now, man, how good are some feedbacks would have been in that last engagement before we got the Blinding Clouds down. But oh well, Storm's cleaned everything up anyways. So he's moving in position. More broodlords. very, very weird, very out of position to defend, but I've been very passive for a lot of this game. So I'm actually going to do something I like seeing the pro players do, which is the old Void Array snipe with the Mothership Core. Cannons in position, so these bases aren't useless. Take a while for me to go and defend them, but my army's slowly getting remade. Lots of storms in here. It's not bad. So now I'm going to come in and snipe the tech. I don't know where his army is, of course, but whatever. And he's clearly unimpressed with this style of play. And I was going to snipe the Greater Spire, Hydra Roach, and then just recall back. He might have been able to cancel these bases, but without his tech, guy was going to be in a pretty tough spot. So, fun game. Hope you guys enjoyed Shawnee playing old Protoss. And we'll see if we can get some more of these games for you guys in the near future. Talk to you later.